So, good morning, everyone, and we will start with the practice of our gratefulness, expressing our gratitude. And we do that by folding our hands near our heart in silence and with reverence. Thank you. The daily relaxation. I invite you to listen to the music. Do a hear out. This would help us settling our mind down. Ask yourself to relax. Be aware of any sensations that are there in your body. You can be aware of the parts of your body as I guide you, and be aware of the sensations as you scan the body. Your head, ears, face, shoulders, elbows, wrists, palm, the back of our hands, fingers, chest, stomach, abdomen, waist, hips, thighs, knees, calf muscles, ankles, heels, toes. Take a deep breath. Be aware of your whole body. Relax your head. Your ears, forehead, top of your eyebrows, your eyes, cheeks, nostrils, lips, chin, let the relaxation now move to your hands and to your chest. You can move your fingers a bit to relax, drop your shoulders. You can take a deep breath anytime you want to access the island of self. Focus on your stomach. Let the relaxation flow to your abdomen, waist, and hips. Relax your thighs, your knees, calf muscles, ankles, heels, top of your feet, and your toes. You can wiggle your toes a bit. Take another deep breath. Remember, if mind is the kite, then breath is the thread. You can use your breath at any point of time to tame your mind. Focus at the back of your shoulders and let the relaxation flow to the top of your hips, relaxing the muscles around your spine. Before we move into our next session, be aware of the touch. Focus on the touch that the hands have on your legs, or the sole of your feet touches the ground. The touch. Focus on the touch and do a feel out. Wonderful. Be with yourself for a moment. And gently open your eyes. As I stop the music, stop sharing, be aware of the external sounds. Thank you. Well, it's a small group today and we will be discussing about acceptance and resilience. Why I thought of this is since we discussed acceptance last time that we had our session, and I have been receiving a lot of requests for Reiki healing and counseling of people who have not been keeping well in their minds. And one of the reasons is probably the pandemic. This pandemic has taken its toll of isolation, of pain, of depression. And there are a lot of people who have fallen sick, who have actually lost their family members, who have lost their friends, who have lost their near and dear ones. And losing near and dear ones has not been a very uncommon phenomenon post the pandemic. Now, what has happened is the pain that is there, it has been very difficult for some of us to accept it and be resilient. So just wanted to find out as a group, as a team, what is that probably we can do, because the five of us who are here and maybe the 3-4 of us who have not joined today, right? We have been with Mindvantage for some time, and probably I personally feel that probably we can do something, even to one person, to understand how we can do it. That was the purpose of this session. And how anyone has actually accepted and being resilient in these times, that is also a purpose of meeting today. So that was the reason of the session today. As far as I am concerned, I can tell that I know Devashish is associated with a great NGO, and he has introduced me to that NGO, although I have not been a great contributor in that. And he has seen a lot of movements taking place with those children, right? But the lives of the lives of those children are, I think, painful all throughout, the underprivileged children. However, the word underprivileged now, I think, does not only bind within the financial aspect, it is also the mental aspect. If you really see, there are children, there are parents who are going through it. So I open up the discussion for this. It is just that we will discuss what is it that we can do and what is the process, because it's a painful process, acceptance and resilience. So open to all of you, whatever comes to our mind, thoughts. Sanjay ji, Kakuli madam, Momita has lost her father-in-law. I have lost my colleagues. Many of us have lost the colleagues. So what is it like?
Yeah, so Partho, let me begin at least for the sake of starting the thing. Um, can you hear me?
Yes, Devashish, loud and clear.
Okay. So there are two aspects to this probably. One is how am I, and how is the world outside me, right? I mean, it's about me and they. So it is very important that I should be resilient enough to be able to see the outside world good enough, right? So how do we build myself um, in this scenario so that I can be like a wall and I can be a ray of hope to the others. So while doing that, I realized that if I look at so as far as I am concerned, I am with Mindvantage. I'm trying to do so many things, and I feel perfectly at ease and balance under under all kinds of things happening around. I try to do that. I try to maintain my balance. Not that I am not affected, impacted, but when I look at the outside world, I see that people are getting self-isolated. So that is one big danger, that they are being isolated within themselves, and they think that they are the world only, right? So as a result, what is happening is the integration with the overall um, universe is kind of getting cut off, which is very much required. One of the basic reasons is that we are moving away from the nature, and nature is the biggest healer in any situation. If you watch, a simple plant or a tree, okay, from which you have chopped off, let's say, a branch, right? So in 3 days time you will see that it becomes light green, and the branch starts creeping out. So even if somebody observes that, he will find that nature is silently healing itself. Why not me? And we have stopped watching nature. We don't have the time, right? So probably we have to see how we integrate with the external universe to see the happiness within. And it's really people have changed. I mean, I have seen people uh, having sea change in their characteristics, in their behavior in the last 2 years. Okay, and I was always wondering why. And when I thought probably these are some of the reasons, right? That their self-healing capability is going away, and the nature's healing capability is going away. And the second is they are getting into the island of themselves, right? And the island is not integrated with the mainland, and that is taking them away from the reality of what is happening in the earth today. Yeah.
Very nicely said, Devashish. In fact, I was reading a article yesterday. So it's an article which is uh, it's a pre-read of a session that I would be attending, and it says that awareness is about yourself, about the environment, and how you behave with the environment. That is awareness. Now, I think this awareness is, so what is happening is, if I take that definition and what you said, there are three parts to it. One is self, one is the others, and my interaction with the others. Right? This is the awareness. Now, if the awareness others are cut off from the self, then it is self dealing with the self. And the more self dealing with the, including the family, I'm saying within the family also people are isolated, and especially during the COVID, right? Although people have had time for the first time in their life to spend time with their families and friends, but the type of interaction that they have had probably have reduced, or they have improved, right? Or they have improved. I don't want to generalize. However, one thing is there, that the kids and the young people today, the millennials, the most of the parents are today worried about their change of behavior of their children. They are becoming adamant, they are becoming angry, they are becoming, and also for the adult. So what is that we can do today to accept and become resilient? And what you said is, yes, true. First, you have to become resilient yourself. Sanjay ji, any thoughts about it? Since you and me, we have done studied together, and we have learned together, and we have practiced together. Sanjay ji, any thoughts? If you are there.
Yes. Yeah. You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello? Okay.
Yes,
So,
we can hear Sanjay ji. Yes.
yeah. So for me, the thought, yes, the things have happened outside, many changes, pandemic, so many issues, people. So I was getting this view that finally word inside is word outside. So how do you feel inside? And that all the time, no, finally what vibrations we are sending to the world. Even that if you can just silently let the no uh, uh, that whole word I pray for that, no, the whole word enjoy health and happiness right now starting from me. That itself may be a healing energy, a prayer. And so I was actually going back everywhere. Even this Gita also goes back Tattvamasi. So you are that. And so focusing on that essence, or focusing on that fundamental reality. So we are getting lost. It's like getting lost into this artificial, what we are seeing, the illusion. And so I think everything is coming that we say that Sankalpa Srushti. So word inside is word outside. And if that can, we start operating from that fundamental reality and operating from the essence, finally, because that ego, or that what ego, jealousy, so many things actually are driving things today. And so if ours one become calm, that I am a peaceful being, I am a powerful being. I am a calm being. I am a pure being. See, this is all the looks which we are all the time talking are high energy vibrations. And this vibration, they start from us through each and every cell of our body and gets into the whole universe, whether one is saying silently or one is expressing it. So coming back to that, I think prayer, blessings, what one can give to the world is that expecting this whole world and that loving kindness, that loving blessing for the whole universe, that health and happiness to the whole universe. If one person starts, and but how to get into this practice? And it's what is reflecting in my mind currently. Because one is that we are projecting the word, other one is we are reflecting. So that we being that consciousness, and can something be done in that space is what is my current point of view. Yes.
So what Devashish and you said
Yeah,
is
Sanjay
starting
ji.
from self. Yes, Devashish,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, Sanjay ji, just trying to, reflect many things come to the mind. So, related to what you just
Yeah.
said. So, thinking, this conversation with my, let us say, very near one, okay, says that, you always keep giving gyan. You talk about Tattvamasi, okay. I don't understand. It doesn't get into my head. I'm just narrating some sequence of things that happen. So, I'm a common man, okay. I'm not a Pandit or whatever, Mahan like you. Huh? So why do you tell me all this? I am a simple human being which live. I depend on aspirations. Word number one. I depend on expectations. Right. I I have lost my goal. What I want to be, because of all this happening today. So I am kind of directionless. Give me a direction, what I can do in this real world. Don't tell me all that. Right. So point is, we could be a few people who are kind of philosophical, who can go inward, try to look at things. But the real world is acting based on certain action and certain orientations, right? Over a period of time, the value system has taken a toll, right? I feel. And one of the ways we can work out is, reinvent our value system, get it inculcated, okay, into this thing. With whatever is happening today, you can't change that, right? But some of the value systems that we were very much used to, when we lose them, we feel scattered. We feel mentally scattered. We feel physically scattered, right? On top of that, because of the pandemic, our body has taken a toll, right? From the body, the mind has taken a toll. I don't know whether mentally, as Partho keeps saying, that some of our wirings, some of our mental resilience has been impacted because of the health conditions that we are in. And is there a medical intervention kind of required here? Right. So what I'm trying to say is that, when I talk about such things with a common person or a common in general to your people, they think you are great. You talk great things. Okay. But the real world is real. Let us talk real sense. What should I do now? Show me direction. I hope I've been able to explain. I mean,
Yes,
right.
yes, very clear. Both
Yeah.
Sanjay ji and you have been very clear. In fact, what comes to my mind again is a belief that mind and body are parts of the same system. And since the body has not moved, the body is not
Right.
well, the mind is also not keeping well. One way which I thought, because what has happened is, which I'm very fortunate is, thanks to Mind Vantage, the group, right? There are many people who actually speak to me, sometimes call me up and speak to me. And we talk about a lot of things. And one of the things which I can say that probably we can do is to listen to people. Just listen, because they have so much to say. Now, this pandemic, we think that the families have been together and they have been speaking. Some of the families have really done well, but many of the families have not done well, and it has impacted the members of the families. Just by listening and not saying anything, because again, Sanjay ji as NLP says, your reality is your reality, my reality is my reality, right? You are wearing your lens, I am wearing my lens. If your lens is red, you will see the world as red. If my lens is blue, you will see the world as blue. So just by listening to the red world, you can help that person. But just by empathetic, I think you can help that person a lot, because one of the ways of reducing pain is, or maybe sharing pain, is by listening. Just a thought which Devashish just now mentioned is, do we have to say something? Is it necessary for us to say something? What Sanjay ji is saying, realizing self is important. So once they say and we hear, I think that itself creates a lot of empathy within the system. Not only cognitive empathy, but I think the emotional part also gets cured to a great extent. I have heard people saying, don't give me gyan. I have actually heard people saying. And I realized that giving gyan to one's own self is okay, but listening to others is very important. Just a thought. So Momita and Kakuli madam, you can share your thoughts.
आई थिंक
Yes.
मुझे भी ये लगता है कि नेचर से हम लोग जितना दूर जाते हैं उतना हमारा प्रॉब्लम बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि I personally feel very good, best of myself when I am sitting, say, in a garden, say I'm sitting in a sea beach. তো প্রকৃতির সঙ্গে যখনই যোগাযোগ করা যায় মানুষের, the distance is more now. We are living in a world of smartphones only, so we don't see that. আমি বাংলায় বলছি, ইউ জাস্ট ট্রান্সলেট। যখনই আগাছা জন্মায় আমাদের টবে, ইভেন আমার যে 35টা টব আছে তাতে প্রচুর আগাছা জন্মায়, আমরা তুলে তুলে ফেলে দিই, আগাছাকে কেউ যত্ন করে না, কিন্তু সে আবার নিজের মতো জন্মায়, আবার নিজের মতো, মানে ছোট ছোট ঘাস ফুলের কথা বলছি, তাকে কেউ যত্ন করে না, তাকে কেউ আপ্যায়ন করে না, কেউ টবে লাগায় না ঘাস ফুল, বা কেউ বাড়ির বাগানে লাগায় না, কিন্তু ঘাস ফুল নিজেই জন্মায়, তো নিজেই তার সৌন্দর্য বৃদ্ধি করে, নিজেই সুন্দর একটা ছোট্ট ফুল ফুটিয়ে মিশে থাকে। তো সেটা দেখলে অনেক কিছু শেখার আছে, যে যতই ইগনোর করুক না কেন প্রকৃতি কিন্তু নিজের নিয়মে ফুটছে। এটা দেবাশিসদা বলেছেন অলরেডি। তো এটা অনেকটা বড় একটা শিক্ষণীয় ব্যাপার, যেটা থেকে আমরা প্রচন্ড দূরে সরে গেছি বলে আমরা আর নিজেদের মধ্যে আত্মস্থ হতে পারছি না। নাম্বার ওয়ান। নাম্বার টু হচ্ছে লিডারের অভাব। মানে আজ থেকে 100 বছর আগে কি 50 বছর আগে আমার সামনে একটা আদর্শ ছিল। এই যে ছোট ছোট ছেলে মেয়েরা, তারা একজন আদর্শ বলে কাউকে মানতে পারত, পাড়ায় হোক, বাড়িতে হোক, রাজ্যে হোক, দেশে হোক, একজন আদর্শ মানুষ সে দেখতে পেত, যাকে সে তার আদর্শটা নিয়ে চলতে পারত, এগোতে পারত। কিন্তু আজকের ডেটে আমি আমার পাড়ায় দেখতে পাচ্ছি না কোনো আদর্শবান লোক, বা দেখলেও তাকে কোনোভাবে সে এতটাই সীমিত, মানে তাকে কোনোভাবেই হাইলাইট করা হয় না। এবং চারদিকে আমি যাকেই দেখতে পাচ্ছি, যাদেরকেই হাইলাইট করা হচ্ছে, তাদেরকে আমি শ্রদ্ধা করতে পারছি না। তো যে ইয়াং জেনারেশন যারা, তাদের সেই নীতিবোধ বা কাউকে ট্রাস্ট করতে পারবো, বা কোনো একটা কিছু আইডিওলজিকে নিয়ে আমি এগিয়ে যেতে পারবো, সেটার এত অভাব, সেটা একটা মারাত্মক প্রভাব ফেলেছে ওদের মনে। ওরা কোনো কিছুকেই ট্রাস্ট করতে পারছে না, এবং সবকিছু ওদের কাছে ফ্লোটিং বা লুসিড এরকম একটা ব্যাপার। তো সেটা ভীষণ জরুরি একজন মানুষের চরিত্র গঠনের জন্য, সেটা হচ্ছে না।
Okay, so what Momita said is for everyone. Those who do not understand Bengali, is that even nature grows on its own self, and it grows even if you cut it off, even if you isolate it, it will grow on its own. And there's a lot of things that we can learn from nature, where it is self-growing, which is self-healing, where it is I should say, restoring. And the second thing is the absence of leadership today, ideals today, within the family, within the area, within the locality, everywhere. So what is happening is we do not know what is the ideal way of living. And because of the advent of technology, we are getting isolated because we are within ourselves. We are not spreading our roots, and others are also not spreading their roots. So that is another thing. Now, how to change this? How to be more resilient? How to help people more resilient? I was speaking to a primary school teacher yesterday, and he was mentioning to me that today there are workshops being organized, which is a very good thing for the teachers of how to handle students in the classroom. One of the ways they are saying, just communicate with them. One of the ways that they are saying, help them to hold things, help them to write, just ask them to write, just ask them to talk, just ask them to move around the classroom. Because Bhumita is right, because of the virtual aggression today, the aggression that the the spontaneity of the children, of the human beings, have reduced because they are isolated. PUBG, the games, they are all, what kind of generation we are creating which will grow up? They will be more intelligent, the IQ will be very high. What will happen to the EQ? So one of the things, the message, the larger message probably from this group which will go is, first heal yourself, talk to yourself, accept that yes, this is what the world is, and communicate with people. Just by communicating. So earlier days, I remember we used to return from school. Why school? Even college. Why college? I think even in when the 2005, 2006, 2007, right? I remember we used to go out and we used to talk in the tea stalls or go and talk to our friends. So many things we used to talk, some very irrelevant, but we used to talk and communicate. I think that has reduced. If we increase that, will we become more resilient? Will we become more happy? Will there be more sharing? Can we share more? So that is what thought which came to my mind. Yes, Momita, you have raised your hand.
Actually, part of the problem is different. If you want to communicate, even like I'm taking the example of my son, if I want to communicate, I want to talk to him. He is not ready to talk to me. He is busy in his own things, and he will not let you come to his room, to let you enter into his room, right? So, how will you communicate? He will even eat with a phone screen playing something. He will go to toilet with a phone playing something. He will not communicate with you at all. So I always tell him, at least have a mindful eating, at least have a mindful meal once in a day. But who will listen to me? He is not at all convinced to listen to any words. That
See,
is the challenge.
that is what I said, that his lens is red and your lens is blue. And probably the red and blue which used to earlier match, or earlier, because the young generation, I was just talking about them, their world is a different world. Communicating with them probably has to be through different approaches. I do not know, but has to be through different approaches. Even a word maybe that can, or he might be communicating with his friends. What I'm saying is, there are a lot of people who are eager to say something. Can we listen to them? It is not important for giving any ideas to them. It is not important. Believe me, there have been incidents where just by listening, there have been so many, and you all know that there's so many lives have been saved. And Devashish is correct. Devashish is absolutely right. If you want to tell them something, they will not listen to you. That is what, the number of coaches life coaches. You will see a trend of life coaches, coming out nowadays. What do these life coaches do? Maximum, I think they listen, ask questions, listen, ask questions, listen, and in the process, the person who is speaking comes out with his ideas and thoughts which he has not been shared for long. People are getting paid for listening now. And as Momita shares her experience, this is the experience of most parents now with the millennials. I was just saying their IQs are very high, but will their EQs be high? I do not know, because I have seen and we have experienced the young generation coming out during the pandemic and doing the maximum things, right? So again, open for discussion. Thank you, Momita, for bringing in that perspective. So again, open for discussion. Resilience, one thing which I can say is resilience probably comes from accepting that this can happen to me and I need to face it. Acceptance, I think, is the first keyword for resilience, of getting up and sharing. Yes, Kakuli madam, you wanted to say something.
Just a minute.
Can lift a person's morale, by talking. Positive vibrations, you can lift a person's life force. I think so. It's only through talking you can, come into a solution.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very important. Communication is one of the most important things. And just by talking, by listening, just by empathizing, I think a lot can be done to improve the resilience. Just by someone believing that there is someone to listen to me, not to hold my hands, I think a lot can happen. Yes, Kakuli, you're right. Yes, Momita, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, you asked me to make Bihan practice that alphabet exercise. I have tried many a time. He will just not look at the chart even. I I just tell him, okay, tell me about your friends. What are you doing? What is the topic that you were discussing? What your vision? What will
Yeah.
you do with that? If I say, tell him, okay, Boshna, kotha bol. Okay, just sit and let us have a discussion. No, I have something to do. So communicating to them is a challenge. They don't have time. They have so many things to do. What is he doing? He is playing games. He is making YouTube videos. He is talking to his friends. और ये जो होता है ना एक साथ 10 लोग मिलके खेलते हैं, that internet game, many things. So he has to write his contents, which is good also. He prepares YouTube videos and he writes his content. So that is his area of interest. So I try कि अच्छा content को लेके बात करते हैं. No, he will not even talk about that.
See, just sometimes, sorry, Momita, I'm just interrupting. Just some days back, Kunal said that he called up Devashish and he just talked aimlessly, right? Now, if you see, aimlessness and just talking like that is also very helpful in nowadays. And Devashish agreed that they talked for a long time, and they shared their thoughts and ideas. We can see a lot of people moving now today, which Momita said, that going towards nature. Devashish said that going towards nature. I think a lot of people have started realizing that they need to go out and they have started going outside. That has happened. But again, if you see the trend, I was reading or listening to someone yesterday where this person is saying that today a trend has started where in the Facebook itself there are travel groups. Now that person is not taking anyone of the family, going with the group alone, but making friends, different friends, right? Making different. That is also a trend which is coming, and it is welcome. this trend is welcome. I think from my side, from my thought, it is welcome, but that trend is also started. So people have started taking one of the things that going towards nature. I just thought I will share this. So yes, Momita, you are right. So everyone, I think, faces the same thing, that you talk my language, I will listen. You will not understand. The assumption is you will not understand my language. And that what will happen by speaking to you, the materialistic world that is opening up. So I just thought I will share this. The Facebook travel groups. I think solo traveling is increasing. Group traveling without family is increasing. And that is good in
Yeah,
one.
many.
Yes, Devashish. Devashish, you were saying something, I think he has frozen. So let him come back.
Man, I think patience is like prime important. Like you have to have this, calmness in you. Whatever happens, you accept.
Yes. And one of the ways of having calmness is probably by sharing.
Yes.
Sharing the grief, sharing the pain. So do you have someone to share? There are, I think, one of the professions which will come up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Devashish.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Devashish.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, weird things are also happening, like, self-marriage, okay, and whatnot we are hearing in this world, okay. These are all, I think, these are all kind of, man is becoming more and more self-oriented, okay, and he thinks that his salvation lies in himself, okay. And that brings to the subject of, we are directionless because we don't have good leaders, which is very important. And I think listening to Momita, this is happening. This is ghar ki baat. Okay, number one. Number two is we have created the Frankenstein. Okay, you cannot isolate yourself and say, oh, erokom korche, he does like that. Okay, he is a party. He has no fault of his own. He has simply, his mistake is he is born in a digital era. Okay, and you were not. Okay, so you can see what was there before digital, what is there today after digital, right? And this nobody can stop, unfortunately. Right? So it requires, I mean, if you have to do small changes, it doesn't make any difference. I remember when I used to sleep with my grandma at the rooftop, she used to tell me about the Dhruvotara, the sky, the this and that, and we used to coolly listen. Imagine your child sleeping with you on the rooftop and you're trying to give such narrations, right? He will bring a Dhruvotara on the screen and say, here it is, right? Pole star. Okay. So that's not going to work. I feel that something like what Sadhguru did, right? The soil, a movement, okay, where even the people who are into this digital, this and that, they found some reason to pursue an honest intent of bringing man closer to the nature. I cannot pull a guy and say, look at this tree and look at this beautiful flower, how nice it is, at least of today's generation. Even the earlier generation have forgotten that. They have lost that touch, right? So the only way you can do it through certain movements, right? And so yes, we can have hazard life coaches, we can have hazard things, right? But the fact of the matter is man has become self-centric. Okay, he thinks he is the center of the universe and he has to acquire as much as possible, like Partho Chattopadhyay, with all his decent, positions in society, leader, right? How could such people fall into a trap like that? Acquire power, acquire money. Okay, why? Because I want to be good, not the other person. So movement and leaders. Yes, I agree with Momita when she said that, we require some very good leaders, and leaders can't be produced, right? Over the ages, leaders have surfaced because people believed in them, right? And the leaders had a sense of honesty. a purpose which is beyond money, power, and all these things.
Correct,
thank you.
Devashish. Absolutely, absolutely right, Devashish. I think, again, going back to the levels of neurological levels, what do I identify myself with? What do I identify myself with? What is the purpose of my life? What is that are my beliefs or my values? Just one thought which comes to my mind is, what is that we can do as people? I think that is what comes to my mind. One thought which comes to me is which Kakuli madam just now mentioned, is talking to people. Is it possible for us? Is it just a thought? Again, a thought, a very, very wild thought. Is it possible for us? Because waiting for a leader might be after our lives, and we might not see a great leader, what Devashish just now mentioned, that acquiring power. And I do not want to bring it here because it might give political colors, but the
No.
education minister, earlier education minister, his house, and this education minister, I mean, I think it's symbolic. It's more symbolic than anything.
Yeah, more symbolic.
More symbolic, right? A person who has got power today can do anything, but just imagine that power. Is that power within us? Can we heal 2 people? Can 5 of us heal 2 people? Can we first accept the fact, talk to people? Talking to people will do 2 things: heal myself and heal the other person. Again, it has actually been etched in my mind what Kunal said. It is etched in my mind. So aimlessness, I think Devashish brought in the thought of aimlessness. Deepak ji talked about aimlessness. Can we aimlessly speak to people, just to people, without any thoughts? Is that possible? It will heal me and heal others. I don't know.
Partho, basically, sorry.
Yes, Devashish,
Go ahead.
please.
No, there are 2 elements of communication, right? 2 fundamental elements. We talked about listen. We talked about talk. What else is there in communication? So if I listen, I talk. I'm doing everything in communication except those basic things like body language and blah, 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 right? So now my question is, these are very fundamentals. We will always do that. But Momita's question is also valid here, that, if I talk and this person doesn't receive, okay, and there are many, many such examples today, they are not receiving, then should I at all talk? So then what that person does is he starts doing self-talking. And then he becomes more and more self-centered. So I think this forum or discussion at this point can be extended into a workshop. We can come to some conclusive 3 or 4 ways of dealing with it. But we cannot have an abrupt, answer to a kind of it's like a rust, right? The society has started rusting. Okay, how do I de-rust it, right? Do I cut it off from oxygen and water and de-rust it? Or is there a better process of, having a bacteria go in and do something? So let's do it in a different context. I said, yes, somebody else was saying, I'm sorry.
আমি বলছিলাম, the approach to problems is different. Momita যে প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছে to deal with her son, it can be, taken care of in a different way. Approach should be different in handling a situation. তাহলে অনেকটা better
হচ্ছে না কাকুলি ম্যাম, বাড়িতে হচ্ছে না, আমরা চেষ্টা করছি। You think,
like we are, all, have this mindset যে হচ্ছে না, হবে, it's হবে, definitely হবে, in a different way. You have to be very polite, listen to them also, their problem. We have to go with the flow as well as, deal with it. It's like,
I want to listen. He doesn't want to share.
So
I don't want
just
to
a
give
thought.
any comment.
Just a thought. Yes, Momita has a problem, and it is a life problem, right? It is a live issue. So one thing I would just want to say, let us isolate now from I mean, move away from this discussion of the mother and son, because there can be a gap which is there. And if we really think of our own childhood, we will not do justice to this generation, because we had a field to play. We had friends to talk, right? And what Devashish just now mentioned, the digital era, we have made the Frankenstein, or technology have made the Frankenstein. But is it possible to listen to people who want to speak? And we can sometimes think that it is not relevant, but it might be relevant. And this gives this discussion, which Devashish also talks about, again, is from his experience and his reality, and we cannot ignore that. Is that ये घर घर के कहानी है. तो घर घर के जो कहानी है, इसको क्या हम घर घर में कम से कम एक आदमी से बात कर सकते हैं? Can we speak to one person? Not speak, listen, right? Is it possible? And what Devashish also says is, or just now Momita said, that since we are getting isolated, people are not ready to listen to us. Whom do I talk to? Whom do I talk to? So with this question, let us, let us set up a thought process in our mind. Maybe this will set up some kind of thought process as to how to do it. And maybe there can be satellite discussions between ourselves and between us and our friends, reading articles or something through which we can contribute. And I think this discussion itself will contribute. At least it will set people who watch this or listen to this, will set them at least to thinking what is happening around us. So with that, we will close the session today, and thank you very much for joining in. And just one more thought that I have is the application which we were talking about of MindVantage. There has been some progress on it. Some progress means not technically, but thinking wise. So we will come back soon to you. Maybe some more time. There is certain things involved which Devashish and me will talk about, and we'll come back to you. So Devashish, I will also be in touch with you very soon and talking to you.
Sure.
So thanking everyone. And again, for me to start with, I am approachable at any point of time. And if there is anything that you want to share in this group, and others also who would listen to the YouTube, if someone listens or watches, I'm open to thoughts. Most welcome. Let us talk aimlessly, and let us share thoughts, pains, which we can help each other. Thank you so much. Om Shanti. Let today be the happiest day. And we will meet tomorrow at 7:15. Yes, Momita.
Yeah, I just want to thank all, but especially I want to thank Devashish da, because every time, at least he gives me one new thought to think about. Actually, প্রত্যেকবারেই উনি একটা না একটা কিছু এমন বলেন এবং আমি অ্যাপ্লাই করার চেষ্টা করি। Thanks to Devashish.
Thank you, Momita. Thanks, Devashish. Thanks, everyone. We'll meet again tomorrow at 7:15. Till then, let today be the happiest day.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. All of you have a nice day.
Thank
Sunday.
you. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank
Bye,
you.
Sanjay ji.
Bye. Yeah, thank you.
Sanjay ji, milte hai.
Yeah, we'll meet. Yes.
Yeah.